Working with magic presets in MA3 has changed a bit since the time of my original video, but the idea is still basically the same. We're still interpolating data between two or more values over a range of fixtures in the selection grid. Let's take a look at it. I'm grabbing 5 spots, turning them on, and then I'm going to next through and give them each a different color. Then I'll store this into the color preset pool, and make sure that when you do this, you store it as a selective preset. Magic presets don't play well with global or universal. Okay, to set this as magic, swipe on the preset and go to Edit Settings. There's an option in the top menu where you can turn on magic. If you don't see it, make sure the settings toggle is on. When you leave this window, you'll see the wizard hat that tells you it's now a magic preset. To check it, I'm grabbing a different selection of spots with a different quantity of fixtures, and it works. So we're not limited to just those 5 fixtures we originally built it with. Magic presets aren't limited to just color data. You might want to do a range of values over something like dimmer. That can be magic as well. And we also don't have to use this many points of data. You can do as few as 2. Let's try with just these first 2 spots. Now we have colors ranging from red to blue. It's important to remember that these presets have to be selective to become magic, but this whole selective thing is a little not intuitive. Like we saw, we can apply these presets to more fixtures than what we used to store it. But at least in this version of software, and I'm gonna guess for the remainder of the life of the console, I can only apply this preset to other fixtures of the same type as what I used to create it, which makes it feel a bit more like a global preset. You could totally store fixtures of multiple types into the same magic preset, but when you apply it later on, it will still only apply the magic based on values assigned to certain fixture types. Let me show you an example. I've got 4 fixtures selected. My first 2 are spots, and I'm gonna make the first red and the second yellow. My third and fourth fixtures are washes. I'm going to make this one green and the other one blue. So I've got 4 lights up in a variety of colors, and I'll store this to a new preset and make it magic. Now I'll turn on all of the washes and apply this. We get a range of colors between green and blue, not between red, yellow, green, and blue. And if I bring up the spots and apply the same preset, my color range is only between the colors I apply to the 2 spots. So the preset is selective, but of course we aren't limited to using it only on the fixtures that we created it with. It interpolates the data based on the type of fixtures we used, so it feels global, but it's not. And to make it even more confusing, if you store these values into a queue, it stores hard values, not a preset reference, even though you used a preset to get those values. Yeah, so if you're thinking, hey, don't presets have rules and consistency? Yeah, you'd think that. You'd probably even want that. I want that. But with magic presets, they just play by their own rules. Something that is consistent with what we know is that this preset is all about selection order. To be more precise, it's about how your selection shows up on the selection grid. If you apply a magic preset and get a look you weren't expecting, double check and see if your selection grid is not what you thought it was. Remember that groups have selection grids natively, so this is something you might want to play with. Applying a magic preset to this selection of the spots will look different than when I apply it to this selection of the same spots because the selection grid is different. In this demo file, there's an LED wall in the back with a selection grid that looks like the way we see the wall. I've already made a magic color preset for the wall, and check out when I apply it. We see the color range from stage right to stage left over our columns, not individual fixtures, and that's because of how it was selected in the grid. It's something you'll want to experiment with. Back to that all-important part about this preset not really being a preset reference in your queues. Keep that in mind when you're using this in your queue lists. That means if you update the values in the magic preset, the queue doesn't necessarily get updated, well, because the queue has hard values. And the hard values are never a really good form when programming. And a quick tip, could you embed other presets like existing color presets into your magic presets? Yes, just make sure that you have embedded checked in your store options when you save. This magic preset will update if you change the presets you embedded, but your queues still won't because of that whole hard value thing. So, some things you could do instead to fix the hard value problem. You could use this as a template starter to get the color range you want into your programmer. Then, before you store a cue, store these values into a new color preset, and then store that new color preset into your cue. Is this an extra step that slows down your workflow that I feel really shouldn't be something that a programmer has to do? Yep, sure do. Is there another option you could use instead, but one that I also feel slows down your workflow? Again, yep. The other way to do this, and this is frustrating, is to make yet another preset, go into the options, and turn it into a recipe. You might already be able to tell by my voice that this is already more steps than I want to take to store a preset. Pick the group you want to apply this to, and under Values, pick the Magic preset. Now I'll close this window, and I'll apply the look, bring my lights to full, and if we check the programmer, we can see that we do now have a preset reference that I can store into a cue instead of hard values, which seems like we fixed our problem, albeit with extra steps, but still. So at this point, could we change the values in our Magic preset and have it update all the cues that use that preset with the recipe of our Magic preset? Yes. And it does seem like MA has updated the software so that you probably don't need to go into the recipe and hit cook after you've changed your Magic preset any longer, which is great, one less step. But if you do update your Magic preset and the cue using the recipe preset still doesn't look right, maybe give cook a try before you remake the preset from scratch. So some stuff to play with and experiment with before storing them into your cues. Happy programming.